Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Friday afternoon, February 19th. We are looking at the SPY ETF's market profile here on Window Trader. And it's pretty much a pretty interesting week. As we close down, remember, we're up 20 somewhat dollars, $22 over the last couple of weeks. This week we closed down about $2.50. If I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure exactly where they pinned us. So really, we didn't give much back for the week. It looks like they wanted to pin the market and the ES, the SPY, right at 390, which it looks like they did. I had 390.05 as a close. I'm not sure if that's going to be an official. But trend day up in Russell today, trend day down in triple Qs, attempt at a trend day up in SPY, 2 or 3 attempts at a trend day down in SPY and ES, and nothing happens. And we end up pretty much towards the low of the day closing. Volume, the best of the week. We're at 76 million already with the after hours. So we're going to do at least 80 million. Lot going on. Let's go to the Russell first. We're going to look at the profile on all of them. Then we're going to do the breakdown of all the charts because there's a lot of interesting things going on heading into the final week of February. So here's the Russell. They have a trend day up. Now, after exploding in A, B, C, D, and E, they end up 10 wide. But they do hold the trend day. Now, the big thing they did is stop the one-time framing down in the daily. So we can say, you could break this down to, say, a 3-day balance if you want for the past 3 days. So we'll go over the charts in a little while, but at least they stopped the one-time framing down in the daily. Triple Qs, on the other hand, after having a trend day up yesterday, have a trend day down today. And they have single prints, a small set that hold in G. They have a set that held in F, so they have a trend day down. And don't forget, they still have their gap they never filled and another trend day from their all-time high. So they actually have three sets of single prints, 2 double distribution days over the past 4 days, and we're right near the all-time highs. Pretty bizarre action. And don't forget, the Russell filled. Where is that gap they had? They had that. Oh no, they had filled that the other day. So the Russell doesn't have that gap that the triple Qs still have above. So again, you can say the triple Qs are basically in a 3-day balance. Okay, we'll go over all that when we look at the charts. So let's go to SPY and ES. SPY stopped the one-time framing down the daily. It's a 9-day balance, and it is a tight 9-day balance. It's under $7. So when we do come out of it, we should get some decent movement pretty good one way or the other. Now, our weekly lows are very close to each other. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on if it does come out of this balance to the downside. Today was a weird day trading. One thing before we get to our trading, we've had a lot of issues with platforms all week. I had a pretty big issue this morning with mine. It got rectified. They were great the way they handled it. But these firms need to get their act in order. Plain and simple. We're not even that busy. So these issues have got to be corrected because if not, we're talking about people's a lot of money on the line here that people are trading. And we can't continue to have these issues. I did not do a lot of trading today because of the issues I had. Made some money. I actually took my first futures trade ever. I have set up a futures account. Again, it's a small one just to start. I would certainly trade just the MES. I'm not going to trade the ES just yet. It was a great trade. I took it in M, right at M's high. I didn't hold on to it long, but I took it just to get my feet wet. 2 days in a row now, M did exactly what I thought it would do, and I did not reap the benefits of it financially. But I called the market very well. So what did I do today? Well, I took a long in A, a small one, because it was above the gap. I'm like, well, let's see if the gap holds. If it doesn't hold, but we don't get much acceleration in, I don't mind taking a bigger play. Well, I took a 10 call play. Not a 10 call play. 30 call play. And guess what? We went down. It came back. Actually, it filled the gap, came back to where I was long, and I had an order in to get out even, and it wouldn't let me do it. Then it went all the way back down. I wanted to add a decent sized call play once we got in and tape it off. Wouldn't let me do that. So net, I called them. They got me out where basically I should have gotten out. So I didn't lose money on the trade, but I can tell you what. I didn't make money on the trade, which I should have, because the 30 calls I would have gotten out unchanged. The 50 calls that I was trying to buy would have been a really nice trade. Now, I could have fought them on that. I didn't. At least they honored me with the 30 that I was in. After that, my mental reserve was through the roof. Obviously, I was very upset. I'm like, it's one thing for me to lose money on a trade or not get into a trade, but it's another thing when you get handcuffed by the actual thing that you're trying to use to make money. So D period, I did take a small call play. Looking to see what we would get. I took it right as soon as we took out C's high. I'm like, let's see what we get. I made small on it, not a lot. I was holding some towards the end. And then I took off the last 5. Again, it was a 30 lot. I did okay, but nothing great. I took a long in F basically against seeing if we're going to hold where change took place yesterday. Well, I made small on it. I wasn't going to hold it. I didn't like the way it was acting. G opened up. I got out of it. Now, I'm telling you right now, the best trade I took was in G. It was a short. So G flushed out. No, I'm sorry. It did not get as low as this yet. But it took out F's low, went down. It went back up. I took a 30 put play against A's low. And it immediately turned around, and I made a very nice. It was my best trade of the day. Now, believe it or not, it's the only trade I took. That's it, except for that small short I took in the MES. What I wanted to do was in J period, I was looking for the afternoon rally high, and I nailed this. We called this to a T. I thought we would get a little more. I thought we might attempt to get acceptance into A, and I said to the room, now halfback got lowered, but at the time, halfback was above A's low. I'm like, I want to take a starter position at A's low, added halfback, and add size between B's low and C's low out if we get acceptance into C and above yesterday's high. I thought that would be a beautiful trade location, take a size put play like up to 100. Never did it. I was looking at the MES at the time. I didn't even do that. And a couple of people took the short and it went down pretty hard, pretty quick. So I did miss a very nice short play there. Now, I would not have been in anywhere near full size because we hadn't even gotten to A's low yet. I thought we might test it, but I should have had at least a 10 or 20 lot to start. So be it. And then, like I said, I took the one MES short in M. Okay, destinations for Monday. That I'm telling you, that A low J high is gonna be so important for me come Monday. So the first destination, now we went out with a price probe. So I'm using J's low of 389.66. So 3 days in a row we've probed. 2 to the upside, 1 to the downside. 389.66. Then the incredibly important level of J's high, 391.05. That's where the afternoon rally high is, but more importantly, that's where change took place. And they never could get back into it. Then we have today's high of 392.38, 392.66 daily high, and then you should have the other ones to the upside. For the downside, we have today's low of 389.55, afternoon pullback low from the 18th, 388.20, and then this is where things would get very dicey for the bulls. These 2 weekly lows. Today's low of 387.74, and this weekly low of 387.50. If you get any acceptance below that 9-day balance, again, the key word is acceptance, not just taking them out, but a couple of things you'd be doing. You'd be stopping the one-time framing up in the weekly, which would put the weekly into balance. Then you have that other daily low with a small, we have 387.42, 10 wide below, and then 386.49 daily low, and a small gap at 386.24 that get filled from February 5th. Below that, it gets a little sparse until you get to that 379 level and that big gap. So any acceptance below these previous 2 weeks lows now, and we can see some acceleration down to below the 380 level. Okay? Now, let's go to the charts. And again, this one's going to be longer, but you know, if you like what I do, and I hope you do, if you do me a favor. If you like what I'm doing, give me a like on YouTube and even a nice comment. And if you don't like what I'm doing, put a comment why, what I could, improve on. Otherwise, give me a standing ovation. Okay, let's go to the charts. I'm going to play with that, so I hope it doesn't annoy you too much. Let's start with the Russell, my friends. Monthly, one-time framing up, 5 months, healthy. Now, here's where a little change took place. Weekly, balance. Okay? We have balance on the weekly. We never took out last week's high, so we were never in danger of an outside week down. We're balanced. It's a 2-week balance. Here's the important thing. 221.84. That's 3 weeks ago, that high. Yes, we got into it, but we didn't get acceptance yet. So if you're a bear, you want to see this week's low get taken out, put us into this week's range. Then and only then can you start saying, well, we're getting acceptance into this balance here, and now we have a chance to push down to around the 205, 210 level. Okay? Unless you get into that week's range, all it is balance. And then on the daily, we will actually down in the daily, and now today put us firmly back in balance. Use a 3-day balance. Use today's high as the top of the 3-day balance and yesterday's low as the bottom of it. Okay? So again, monthly's up, weekly and daily a balance on the Russell. Triple Qs. Monthly up, one time framing up, 4 months like us. Weekly, they had a chance for an outside week down. They took out last week's high and low, but we close inside. So all we are is in balance. So the only way something's going to change, right? Markets don't go bull bear. So look, we've gone bull. Now we're balanced. Do we come out of balance bull or do we come out of balance bear? Remains to be seen. If we take out this week's low, again, you have a chance to push this down to around the 315, 313, 316 level. But you need to come out of balance to the downside. And on the daily, again, they were down for 2 days, but now they're firmly in the 3-day balance. Okay? Actually, I take that back. We didn't take out 333.87. Yes, we did. We barely took out yesterday's high, but we did. So it's a 3-day balance. Okay? And now let's go to SPY NES. One-time framing up for 4 months. Healthy. Weekly. We never took out last week's low. So we're the healthiest out of all 3 of those. And by the way, the Dow and the transports both hit all-time highs today. Keep that in mind. So out of Russell, NQ, and ES, we're the only one that didn't take out last week's low. So we are one-time framing up still in the weekly, 3 weeks. Now, do these 2 weekly lows become targets? Sure they do. But again, you can call this, I'm still calling this bull because we didn't take out the lows. You want to call it a little bit of balance? You can. But again, markets don't go bull bear. So the first thing I'd look for is to take out a weekly low to get into balance. And then on the daily, we were one time framing down for 2 days, but it was in balance. We took it out. We are firmly in a 9-day balance, tight range. Volume this week, 244 million. Last week, 226 million. So very light volume. Right? A week before that was 288. The week before that, when they tried to push down, was 457 million. So I think at some point, the longer we spend in a balance, especially a tight one like this one, which is under $7, we can see $5 in a time frame. When we do come out of it, if it's to the downside, you can get some really good acceleration and maybe test that 380 level, and maybe even test the 50-day moving average. Who knows, right? That's not. You can see that in a trading day. And on the flip side, if we come out of this 9-day balance to the upside, hopefully the longer time frame comes in to start supporting upward moves, so we get distance away from this balance. I hope you had a great week trading. Rest up, have a great weekend, and we will speak prior to the opening on Monday.